This is where legacies are made. When people talk about the greatest players of all time, they don't mention cash cups. They talk about how good you were able to do in FNCS Grand Finals, and we are officially just one more sleep away from Chapter 6 Season 2 Grands. It is finally time to give my full entire top 10 predictions for both EU and NA. We have a bunch to go over in today's video, so before this video starts though, please subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we have officially uploaded every single day before Grand Finals. If you guys want to support me even more, the best way to do so is by using code Kdog in the Fortnite item shop. Follow me on my Twitch, link in the description down below, because we are going to be watching all of Grand Finals on there. So if you guys just want to watch it with me, just make sure you guys go drop a follow. Without further ado though, we have a lot to go over in today's video, so let's just get it started. So like always for these predictions, I want to start off by giving my two honorable mentions going into Grand Finals. These are trios that I feel like still have the potential to be inside of the top 10, but I just don't necessarily have them in my personal list right now. The first trio that I have there that I was so close to putting in my top 10 was the trio of Aviv, Skittles, and Chimp. Now these guys' placements in divisional cups that they played together was 7th, 18th, and 15th, and then they were able to win game 1 of Group 1, the group that Peterbot was in. This trio also does currently have an uncontested Outlaws Oasis. I think this is probably going to be one of the main trios that is trading Surge with Peterbot. The only thing that concerns me a little bit about this trio is I really don't know what these strategies or their game plan or anything to do with this team is going to be going into Grands now. Wouldn't be surprised if they pull off a top 10. I just think the trios above them have either a higher potential or have shown more consistency in tournaments, and that is why they're one of my honorable mentions. My other honorable mention is Bryce, G-Money, and Osid. Now these guys literally just formed in time for FNCS. They didn't play any divisional cups together. They finished second in consistency in Group 1 as well. I feel like this is another team I just really haven't seen enough from to be able to want to put them inside of the top 10. They do have basically the entire mountain and the split underneath that as well, so I'm not concerned about their loot or anything. I'm not concerned about the caliber of players on this trio either. I just don't think I'm necessarily ready to put them in my top 10 yet. Moving on to my actual top 10 now, I think the trio in 10th place is one of the biggest wildcard teams of this whole entire tournament, and that is the trio of Bucky, Okus, and Cam. They are currently landing at the Rainbow Split with the Black Market. They're going to be getting Uncon Drum Gun 12 out of 12 games. In the only divisional cup that they played together, they finished 18th place in. But if you have been watching competitive Fortnite over the past 2 weeks, they have looked like an arguable top 5 trio on the region. They were able to be the best team in Group 3. They've won an Eval Cup game. They've been playing very well in scrims as well. There is a lot of concerns that I still have with this trio though. Of course, the main one is double controller in Grands. It doesn't often necessarily go the best, but the reason why I'm kind of willing to put that aside is because Okus with the drum gun is just an absolute laser beam. If you look at the drop map, they are in the center of what people have been calling the Bermuda Triangle. So if you look at the teams around them, they have like Booga, Threats, and Rapid above them, Adri's Acorn and Pollo under them to their left, and then Bolts, Kanata, and Sphinx directly under them. So they have 3 super good teams all around them, and we know that everybody's just going to be trading Surge in this lobby anyways, but I feel like there is a real possibility that all 3 of these trios could just be absolutely milking Bucky for all of his heals basically every single game if they wanted to, since they are the team that is in the middle of all of these super high caliber players. They do have some things that are benefiting them though, like to the right of them at Kappa Kappa Factory, Zeke, Dash, and Veer are contesting Silix, Jarg, and King. So if they want to potentially get some cleanup eliminations in there, since they do have the drum gun, I think it is 100% possible. I think this trio has one of the largest fluctuations on where they could actually place in this Grands, because I do still see a world where they don't finish inside the top 10, but I also see a world where they can maybe even finish as high as like a 6th or 7th place. 9th place, I'm gonna go with Shadow, Curve, and Tyler. Now I do have them getting the exact same place in this Grand Finals as they did in the last one. Placements this season are honestly pretty decent as well. They've gotten 4th, 9th, 23rd, 13th, and then they finished 10th place in their group. One of the things that I am most excited about for this trio is they have all officially moved to 0 ping for Grand Finals. We even saw in the last Eval Cup of the season that they were able to get a 20 elimination second. I'm trying not to put too much weight on like recency bias tournaments and everything. I still want to take like a broader scope at this whole season in general to try to put into perspective on how these trios have actually been looking. 8th place, I'm gonna go with another super underrated trio, a team that has also been sneaky super good this this season of Visuals, Braids, and Diminish. Now, if you look at their drop spot, there is a little bit of area of concern, but that is only because they land directly next to Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual. Their placements this season, they have played this entire season together. They've gotten 6th, 9th, 15th, 8th, 11th, and then in groups they were able to win a game. They have so much chemistry built up together already. I'm pretty sure they literally played last season together as well. I think if you put this trio outside of your top 10, you're kind of crazy. They did have a pretty difficult grands last season when they were fighting Bucky off spawn, but I think the only way that the tournament starts to go super south for this trio is if Peterbot is having like a struggle couple of games and they're not being able to get their surge, so they decide that they want to start keying a trio that is directly next to them. Their main options are either going to be 20 Broken and Liam under them, Visuals, Braids, and Diminish, or Aoxy, Jojo, and Pikes. And to me, this is one of the most underrated trios in this entire lobby that I just feel like not enough people are talking about. And then going into the top 7 is just the 7 best teams on NA, the wonderful 7. Starting off with in 7th place, I could be underrating this trio a little bit. I just feel like they are one of the newer trios in this lobby that I also just haven't seen too much from them, and that is the trio of Reet, Cooper, and Curly. Now, these guys do have uncontested flooded frogs, and if you look around them, oh my goodness, they have free pickings all around. Basically, no matter what direction they want to go on the map, they have a spawn fight to choose from. These guys could be absolutely feasting in this grand finals, but like I said earlier, I literally just have not seen these guys play enough together. They didn't play a single divisional cup. The only track record we have of these guys is getting 2nd place in one of their group games and then winning the other one. Moving on to my 6th place spot now, I have the trio of Kanata, Bolts, and Sphinx. Now, I have seen a lot of people be super high on this trio recently, and I honestly just don't really see the reason why. The only divisional cup that they played in, they got 7th place in. They haven't looked really good in any eval cups they played in. I know that they were able to win the very first game of their group. I mean, hey, Kanata and Bolts literally did that exact same thing last season as well and finished 7th in grands. I think we do all know that the potential of all 3 of these individual players in general can carry them to a top 5 in grand finals, but I just really haven't seen anything that has really impressed me from these guys to want to put them higher up on this list. But I would really love for this trio to prove me wrong. And just like that, we are into the top 5 now, and starting off with in my 5th place spot, I'm gonna go with the trio of Muzz, Rise, and Yapko. So yes, this is another trio that I have getting their exact same placement that they got in last grands. Their placements in divisional cups from this season were a 4th, 12th, 6th, and 4th. So I think a 5th place is just like a really appropriate spot to put them in. I was really debating whether or not I wanted to put this trio in my 5th or 4th place spot. Rise is 100% gonna have some crazy strategies cooked up. Muzz has either been the 1st or 2nd best solo player in this entire season, and then we just know how highly people talk about Yapko. The potential is also 100% there for this team, and that is why I am putting them in my 5th place spot. 4th place is my first prediction that I am not like super confident in, but I am gonna go with Rapid, Booga, and Threats at Uncon Seaport City. I think Booga's trio basically is just like the Walmart version of Queasy's trio. Just like no disrespect to them, but they basically have the exact same strategies as they land at the same drop spot. Booga always seems to perform inside of that top 5 in grand finals each and every single season. No matter how much you doubt him throughout the season, he shouldn't really be under surge any of their games. The other thing that I really like about this trio is they are a high ground oriented team. That is also a potential factor that could come back to bite them. Like, how consistently are they actually going to be able to get high ground in a lobby that has Peterbot in it and a lobby that has Acorn's trio in it? But from even the scrims that I've watched these guys play recently, they seem to hold high ground really well. And then going on to the top 3, I think this is just the undeniable 3 best teams on the region. All 3 of these teams to me have the potential to win grand finals this season. Starting off with in 3rd place though, I'm gonna go with the trio of Clicks, Iamzo, and Higgs. They do still have uncontested Lone Wolf Flare. If you look at the trios around them, everybody is contested. They have free pickings to basically any team that they want. I think people are kind of overrating the Lone Wolf nerf that it had. Yes, they're definitely not in as good of a situation as they were before, but I don't think that the nerf was so bad that like their whole grand finals is just like ruined now or something. We also have to remember this was also one of the best divisional cup trios of this entire season. Their placements were 2nd, 4th, 3rd, and then a 1st place in the very final one to end Peterbot's 12 Cash Cup win streak in a row. And I think they are just the 3rd best trio on the region. Moving on to my top 2 now, I have the reigning, defending FNCS Grand Finals champions of Agers, Acorn, and Poyo. These guys in the only divisional cups that they played got 2nd and 3rd in. They still have an uncontested Mass Meadows. They're still going to be surge trading it up. They still have the best IGL in the entire region, a top 3 fragger in the entire region, and then Poyo, who is going for his 5th FNCS win in a row. I made a huge mistake last season of doubting this trio going into grand finals. I'm 100% going to make sure sure that I'm not making that same mistake again. I think people have been massively overrating how bad the vibes actually are in this trio as well. I think the talent level of these three players alone is going to outweigh however bad their vibes actually are. Like I said earlier though, this is one of three teams on the region that I do believe has FNCS winning potential. All three of these players are such prolific grand finals players as well. So if you're wondering like, oh, why do I have these guys over Clicks? I just think every single player on this trio is just simply better grand finals than any player on Clicks' trio. And that does leave just one trio left, and that of course is the trio of Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual. Now I think Ritual has some of the most pressure on him to perform in this grand finals. Peterbot is fully back to IGLing this trio again. Ritual has to play that support role now. I think he will be able to fit a lot more comfortably in that role instead of having to try to IGL arguably the other two best players in the entire world. Do I have some concerns about this trio? Yes, of course, but I think if we are in a more surge trading meta, then some of my main concerns that I have for them have just went away even more. We know that they are a crazy fighting team. A lot of their Storm Surge strategies used to be to just fight people for Surge, and especially in a grand finals lobby, that is always going to be a major level of concern for me. It's because we have seen instances like in the group stages, we're just keying every single trio, but if one of them dies and they have to reboot, it is going to be so difficult to do that in this caliber of a lobby. From the recent eval cups that I've been watching, some of these scrims I've been seeing as well, it looks like they are fully adapted to the surge trading meta. Of course, they are still going to be keying some trios as well. The fighting power on this team is always going to carry them. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish with like a 15+ elimination win. Do I still think there is a world where they don't win grands? 100%. I've seen a lot of people saying this is the most confident that they have ever been in Peterbot's trio, and for some reason I just don't feel that same way right now. I do still think that they are going to win grand finals just because I think they have the best player in the lobby and arguably the second best player in the lobby as well. After last season, I think Peterbot really does realize that it is possible for him to lose a grand finals, so I think he's going to be more locked in than ever if we put those TikToks aside that we've been seeing. But yes, these guys are my current FNCS winning prediction. So that means that the three new teams I have qualifying to land this season are Clicks, Yamzo, and Higgs. I think they're basically 100% locked to do it. Booga, Threats, and Rapid, and then Muzz, Rise, and Yapko. The full rundown of what my top 10 was before we move on to EU, it was Bucky in 10th, Shadow Curve and Tyler in 9th, Visuals in 8th, Reet in 7th, Kanata in 6th, Muzz in 5th, Booga in 4th, Clicks in 3rd, Acorn in 2nd, and then Peterbot in 1st. Now my honorable mentions for EU, the first one I have is Mr. Savage, Rezon, and Vidil. Now if you look at the map, yes, they are unfortunately still contested by Twy, Avahalo, and Noms. This is a full 50-50 drop spot as well. Do I think that this trio has the caliber of players to be able to make it into the top 10? Yes, 100%. I literally said when these guys first formed together that I thought Mr. Savage's trio had a real possibility of qualifying for LAN this season. I think really the only way I see them pulling off a top 10 is if these fights are ending super fast, able to still get the normal amount of loot that they would normally get. But like they even have a trio of Cade under them as well. Comparing that to what Bryce, G-Money, and Osid get, they are quite literally getting the whole entire mountain and the split under that. And Mr. Savage's trio is literally getting half of the mountain split. I just don't really know how I could really say that this team is going to place top 10 right now. And then the other honorable mention trio I have, just based on the pure potential of them alone, is Shark, Trulex, and Noah Riley. They haven't shown me nothing too crazy ever since they formed together. We know everybody calls Shark like the next version of Peterbot. Trulex and Noah Riley are absolutely insane players as well, and I don't really think that they are a top 10 trio on EU either. Moving on to my top 10 now, in my 10th place spot, I have the trio of iDrop, Sky, and Scroll. Now this team has honestly been disappointing is probably an understatement. They have gotten 30th, 29th, 9th, 7th, and 28th. They have been contested for basically this entire season, and they are now currently uncontested. The theme for iDrop and the theme for this trio in general is they have a good day one, and then on day two, they just absolutely fall apart, and I think they're gonna fall all the way down into that 10th place spot. 10th place, I don't know if this is a bold prediction or not, but I'm gonna go with the trio of Vico, Vino, and Flixie, the FNCS champions that are currently contested off spawn by Ferdoxy's trio at Mass Meadows. Vino's placements this season are a 2nd, 5th, 1st, 19th, and 13th. When the these guys are uncontested, I think they are the second best team on the region. It's crazy how much these Grands predictions got shaken up by the last chance qualifiers. It is just the beauty of Fortnite at the end of the day. You really never know what is going to happen until game day. I think if this trio is able to even just go even off spawn with Verdoxi's trio, they have the caliber of players and they will most likely have the loot advantage, be able to get like high illumination games inside of the top 5, any end games that they're able to make. We even saw it in last grand finals. They only played like 8 or 9 end games out and they were still able to win the entire tournament. I think they could just get absolutely ran off spawn by Verdoxi. Yes, 100%. Maybe I am just being a little bit biased towards the FNCS champions, but there's just something in me that just doesn't see a world of these guys placing outside of the top 10. Moving on to the top 8 now. I feel like this whole top 8 is so interchangeable. This is one of the hardest EU grand finals to predict in a very long time, even though I feel like we say that every single season. But in 8th place, I'm going to go with a trio that has impressed me a lot recently of Comeback, Blaha, and Mixon. Now their placements this season are a 10th, 13th, 14th, and then a 2nd place. What I am majorly projecting this placement off of is 1, them being uncontested. I think them being uncon, obviously such just a better trio compared to when they are contested. They look like one of the best trios in the entire group stages. I'm pretty sure they finished with like the 3rd most elims out of any team in group stages on either EU or NA, which is something I didn't really expect from these guys. These guys are way more well known for that consistent playstyle, and so them showing that they can still get fraggy as well. Don't be surprised if this trio pulls off a top 5. 7th place is my dark horse team of the season. I wanted to put this team higher just because of how high I have been on them recently, but I have the trio of Pink, Nebs, and Kiro. Their placements in the Divisional Cup finals this season are a 7th, 4th, and a 2nd. That should literally tell you all you need to know about this trio going into grand finals. They are uncontested. I don't love their Storm Surge situation, but I think the teams that are landing around them are pretty similar trios to when they actually got 2nd place, and I'm pretty sure they only got 2nd by like 2 or 3 points. Obviously, at the end of the day though, grand finals is a whole different beast compared to divisional cups. We saw Pink's trio have a pretty struggle day 1 last grands and then be able to bring it back in day 2, but I just think this is a 100% locked trio for placing inside the top 10, and I have them in 7th place. This place now is a trio that I could 100% see pulling off a surprise top 3, but that is the trio of Pix, Darm, and Demas. Their placements this season are a 12th, 20th, 8th, 20th, and then a 1st place in the final Division 1 Cup of the season. They are playing from a buffed Pump Powers now as well. They got 5th place in last grand finals. This trio has showed so much potential to be one of the best teams on the region. I have been saying this for so long. I think this is the future of EU right here. If they have another good performance this grand finals, I see no world where these guys don't just end up playing the rest of the year together and eventually qualify to LAN as well. Finally, moving on to my top 5 now. In 5th place, I have the trio of Thomas HD, Uppel, and Panzer. Now, these guys should not be under Surge a single time. If I was talking about how much I believed in Bucky, Okus, and Cam, with Okus having the drum gun in their Surge concerns, just imagine how high I am on Thomas HD and a player who literally just got 2nd most damage in last grand finals of Panzer. I think Thomas HD is a top 2 drum gun player in the entire world. Replacements in the Div Cups was 6th, 3rd, and 5th. I think Uppel is the real wild card player on this trio. He went from IGLing in grand finals last season placing top 7 to now being a full-time fragger. I just need to see if they have enough fighting power, pull off something maybe even higher than a top 5, but I do have to admit, this is probably one of my picks that I am not super confident in. And hey, if you like spicy predictions, my 4th place prediction is going to be the trio that is already qualified to LAN of Malibuca, Ping, and Wox. Now, just looking at their Divisional Cup placements this season, you might be saying I'm crazy for having them in 4th. They have placed 3rd, 2nd, 2nd, and 6th. I think any trio inside the top 4 has the potential to win grands this season on EU. I just don't know what it is about Malibuca's trio, but they just haven't been moving me to the point where I feel like they're better than the 3 trios that I have above them. Do have an uncontested Lone Wolf layer. They are a trio that's already qualified for LAN. They have super good placements in the Div Cup finals. This might be some just recency bias because we have seen them struggle a little bit since they were contested a couple of those weeks by Vino, Vico, and Flixie, and they also didn't look the best in their group or anything. Malibuca is a grand finals player at the end of the day, and I do know that, but I think this is one of the hardest grand finals to predict on EU, so I wanted to throw some spicy predictions in there. And so another potential spicy prediction I got is 3rd place of Cammy, Seti, and Hari. Now, all I have to ask is, oh my goodness, Please do not let me down again, Kemi and Seti. I feel like I am always so high on this trio going into grand finals, and then they end up getting like surprise contested, and then they don't even finish inside the top 20. So if this team gets contested, just completely chalk them, pretend like I never even said anything. But if they're uncon for 12 out of 12 games, placements this season in finals are a 5th, 3rd, 9th, and a 7th. Literally one of the most consistent trios in the entire world. They've been playing together for 2 full seasons now, so they have the chemistry built up with each other, and they are coming off of having a very disappointing last season, so they have something to prove this season, and they still need to qualify for those global championship spots. I think this team should be as motivated as ever. They should be one of the most prepared teams in this entire lobby as well. Kemi lets me down again in grand finals though. I am never predicting these dudes inside of the top 10 again though. Getting into my top 2, in second place is a trio I am so happy that more people are finally on the bandwagon for. I was so high on this trio last season when everybody was calling me crazy. I was calling this team like a top 5 trio in the world when they first formed together, and now I am going to predict them higher than I ever have, of Venya, Pixie, and Marius. Their placements in the divisional cups were 4th, 15th, 1st, and 12th, so they did have 2 inconsistent weeks. They were able to pull off a win. They look so crazy in basically every single eval cup they play. They seem to be one of the hottest trios going into this. They quite literally just placed 3rd place last grand finals also, so I think a 2nd place is 100% doable for these guys. And then in 1st place, the trio that I have winning it all seems to be the unanimous #1 pick on EU right now of Queasy, Swizzy, and Murstache. Their placements in the Div Cup finals that they were able to make was a 1st, and a 6th. I think the reason why everybody is so high on this trio right now because they finished 4th place last grand finals while being contested every single game. They literally went into the last game of grand finals with still real win potential. You could have made an argument that they were the best trio last grand finals even though they didn't win. So I just think there is no way that you can't predict them to be in 1st place for this grand. Queasy is the best IGL in the entire world. Swizzy and Murstache are some of the best fraggers in the entire world. This trio has the fighting ability, they have the smarts. You could make a real argument if they wanted to that they are even a better trio than Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual. Hey man, hope you guys enjoyed some of these spicy predictions I had for today. Let me know your guys' own top 10 in the comment section down below though. Remember, follow me on my Twitch, link in the description down below, because we are going to be watching grand finals over there. And if you want to check it out with me, I would greatly appreciate it. Please subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we try our best to upload daily competitive content. Please just go Kdog in the Fortnite item shop if you guys want to support me even more. YouTube says enjoy one of these 2 videos up on the screen right now, so go check them out if you guys haven't already. Follow me on my Twitter at Kdog to keep up to date with everything to do with Fortnite competitive. Thank God for another day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.